What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Moose Smoke Podcast. This is episode 121.
Close to double.
121. I'm your host, Ryan. This is Matthew.
Hi.
And it's Saturday night, and we're here, and we're just having a grand old time, you know?
Ryan's tired.
I'm very tired. I've been on day schedule all week, so like 1 a.m. Eastern I'm fucking exhausted.
He's dead. He's
I
dead.
Fell asleep rewatching Secret Invasion on my couch, and I just woke up. Luckily, I set an alarm, or I would have not woken up.
I'd be like, "Where's Ryan?"
Yeah, I would have been just passed out for sure. There's no way I would have woke up at 6 a.m. and fucking had a panic attack of like, oh shit, I missed the podcast by 5 hours.
Ah, shit.
Yeah. How are you? How was your week? What's up? What's going on in Matt's
okay,
world?
Man. Been busy. I was just showing Ryan that my room is
Coming
empty.
apart.
I'm almost done. All I have left to pack is my X-Men stuff. I packed my villains today, and finished the rest of my NECA Turtles, and then that's it. And it's fucking it's all done. And then I gotta move all, do all the risers and the stands and shit like that. But
yeah.
But yeah, I'll do that tomorrow probably. But my goal for tonight is to do all the rest. So all these ones back here are all done.
Yeah.
So
it's weird. It's so weird. It is weird. But
it's like I have to label everything well, because I need to if I need to find something, I need to be able to get in and actually find it. So
not just that, but it just makes everything so much easier when you know what's in each box and to set up shelves and everything like that. If you just started combining everything, you'd be
you have to have a method.
Yeah,
there has to be a method. Yeah, I was the reason why I need to label it now is because I'll still get stuff in between now and when I actually get a chance to set these things up, right? So
right.
Realistically, I have to put them into those boxes because I don't want to again go to that box, open it, set it up, and put it into my case, and then realize I forgot something that came in whatever, right? Should be some content. Always Sunny wasn't funny. Secret Invasion is about anticlimactic as two 80-year-olds banging.
Yeah, Neil, we're aware. We just kind of said that, but we'll get to it. We'll get to Secret Invasion. We'll get to Always Sunny in a minute, but
we did get these.
Yeah, buddy. I'm very excited. They turned out really nice.
Yeah, they did. They're really, really good.
For people that don't know, these are stickers that Matt
They're permanent tattoos.
Oh, I wish. You can only put them on your butt, though.
Yeah, or your nuts.
Yeah, I'll have some at Fan Expo, which we'll be going to in a month.
Yeah, man.
So if you see us at Fan Expo, I'll have a sticker for you.
We're gonna be just randomly putting them on people.
Oh, I'm just gonna oh, you look fun. I'm gonna throw one in your bag without you noticing.
One for you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, Fan Expo 1 month. So see us in Toronto, and then actually, we might as well just say this too: is next week will be our last episode for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Matt's moving, so we'll finish off Secret Invasion next week, and then we'll take a bit of a break.
A couple weeks.
Yeah, probably two weeks off, and then we'll come back for an episode before we hit Fan Expo, and then we'll do an episode live from Fan Expo. So
yeah,
it'll be a busy month for Matt, but
it will.
We got to give him time to unpack everything and get settled and all that jazz.
Yep. All this packing is going to be done soon, but I still have to pack everything else. I always start with the figures because I figured it would take me a long time. I figured it would take me 7 days is what I kind of allotted for.
Yeah.
And I got I say I'll have all of it, with the stands and everything, I'll have everything done in 4 days.
Yeah, I mean, you're a hyper scheduled person, so
yes, I am.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I just expected it to take longer, but it didn't. Once I started moving, I was like, I'm gonna have this finished in half the time.
Yeah.
It's great.
I mean, packing always goes faster. It's the unpacking that's a pain in the fucking ass.
Totally. It's gonna be hard too for me because most of my space, most of my stuff is gonna have to stay in boxes probably till October. So
until your studio is done, there's no point of taking anything out.
I haven't even we've made zero progress on the studio. We haven't gotten any permits. It could take 6 weeks to get a permit.
Yeah. I mean, that should
6 weeks to build, right?
Snail pace. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm meeting a builder tomorrow to like come out and look at it. So I'm all prepared and shit. Got my plans.
Oh wow, fancy
Ready to
girl.
fucking go. Yeah.
Let's
How
get
are you?
into yeah, no, I'm good. I mean, I'm still off work. I'm just going back on Monday, so I watched a shit ton of movies this week.
Nice.
I think I watched 15 movies, 16 movies.
Damn.
Yeah, I just kept busy, kept my brain busy. So
Nice.
yeah, I don't know. It was a productive week in watching things. I don't know. That's not
Okay.
productive, but
It's productive for the podcast.
yeah. Well, if my job was to watch things, I'd be a fucking professional.
You'd be a
I'd be
millionaire.
a millionaire. Yeah.
You'd be nailing that shit.
It's so hot here, like lately too. It's
It's been hot. Today was the first day where it started to cool down. It's still hot. It was like 28 or something, but like it's been like 33. Like
this week is supposed to be like every day. It's supposed to be like between 30 and 35. It's like, yeah, it's a little hot.
It's bad when Kate puts the air conditioner on. Like usually I have to put it on because she won't. But like, there's a couple days this week where she was like, I can't do this.
I can't sleep in it. Like that's my biggest problem.
You can't sleep with the air conditioner?
No, I can't sleep in the heat.
Yeah.
Like that's where it comes down to is like I don't mind the heat. I can when I'm awake, it's fine. But when I go to bed, I can't be hot.
You can't like sweat and like roll around in your sheets. I get it.
It's just so uncomfortable. So
I get it.
Especially when you like I'm on nights and I'm sleeping during the day. It's like
even worse.
It's hot.
Yeah, because you're getting sun at that point too. So
yeah. We should get into stuff we watched this week because I have a lot.
I have a little.
Yeah, you went and seen some
I went and
movies.
saw Barbie. Yeah, I went and saw Barbie tonight. It was really fun. I know Neil's gonna love it, but yeah, it was really fun. I was saying to Ryan that like I think it's definitely it wasn't what I was expecting. I mean, I don't really know what I was expecting, but what we got wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really, really fun. The idea was really cool. And like, kind of like rundown is like, Barbie lives, Margot Robbie lives in like the Barbie world. So it's like everybody's name's Barbie or Ken. And like, it's just like a million different Barbies. There's like Dr. Barbie and whatever, all these different like versions of her or whatever. And then like, she starts like feeling like empathy. Like she like, is like she's the idea is that when you're in their Barbie world, they're perfect, right? They're like, so there's like a point where like she kind of starts having these like flashbacks and like, to like memories that aren't hers. And like, it's because like somebody in like the real world is basically like, I guess that might be a spoiler. Maybe I won't say that part, but basically it's something to do with like the real world interacting with the toys, the Barbie toys in a way, which is kind of making her feel this way. So she has to go to like the real world, and it's like, it's so fucking funny. So her and Ken go to the real world, and like, it's just, it's great, man. Honestly, like it was way better than I thought it was. It was really, really funny. The kind of story is really good. It's like a really good way of like kind of presenting like, how kind of shortchanged like women have been historically, right? In terms of like, not having equal pay and kind of like, being seen as like, sex objects or whatever.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So
hypersexualized.
Yeah. And it was just like, and it's cool. They kind of take like a different spin. They kind of use Ken to kind of like show how that is like, in Barbie world, Ken is just like, a plaything. He doesn't really matter. And like, you know what I mean? So they kind of flip it on its head a little bit. And it's like, it's pretty cool, man. It was like, I thought it was very original for like what they were trying to do. And I thought it was really good.
It's doing bonkers numbers. Like I looked earlier just to see what the Friday, I think it did like $70 million on Friday.
Ooh, damn.
And I think Oppenheimer did
spoiler
like
for you, Neil.
30 million, I think.
Wow, really?
Yeah, like it's destroying. Like I was way off.
It was a full house when we went tonight.
Yeah,
and it was funny because there was like these girls, like it was obviously a lot of girls, right? And like,
sure.
There was like all these girls wearing pink, and there was like as I was going into the theater, there's like 4 girls all wearing pink, right? And they're like they're showing their tickets on their phone to the person or whatever, and they're like, "We're going to see Barbie," and I'm like,
no shit.
What fucking gave that away? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I'm
it's
going to see Oppenheimer. Yeah, okay.
yeah, exactly. We wore our pink for the bombing. Yeah, no,
So yeah,
I'm shocked at how well it's doing. I mean, I
yeah,
think
that's
it's
crazy.
besides maybe the Mario movie, I think it's going to be like one of the top movies of the year.
It wouldn't surprise me. It was pretty funny too because I don't think it's a spoiler to say this, but it doesn't really matter. It's an actor. Like, so Will Ferrell plays the head of Mattel,
Oh, nice.
who like makes Barbie, you know, and
Yeah,
like when she comes to the real world, he like starts freaking out and stuff. And it's like there's this ongoing joke again about like all the top people at Mattel are all guys, and like he's like, we're so progressive. We've had in 2020 there was a female on the board, and then one other time. It's just like yeah, it's pretty fucking
great.
it's yeah, it was good. There's lots of good little like cameos and shit in it too. So
nice.
I would say that I know it's not your cup of tea, but when it's available to stream that you don't have to pay for, I think it's at least worth checking out because I think it's a different way of telling that kind of story. And you know, like it was definitely like the farthest thing from like Paint by Numbers in my opinion. Like I thought it was really good. So
yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Kate really liked it too, which
that's good.
I guess is surprising, but maybe not. I don't know.
Well, she's kind of hard to impress story wise and stuff like that, but it was something that she wanted to see, so I'm glad she enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was her pick, so I mean, like, I obviously figured she'd want to see it to a certain degree, but
yeah.
But yeah. And then aside from that, the only other thing I watched this week was I finished Ted Lasso on Sunday, and it's very good.
It's good,
very
right?
Good. Yeah, I had like they use that father and son song from Guardians 2.
Yeah.
Which like is an emotional song for me because my dad liked that song a lot, and like it just like as soon as that song came on, like tears started coming, and I was like, "Fuck!" And then Kate just looked over at me, and she's like, "What is wrong with you?" Like,
oh, I don't know. I get so emotional lately too that
me
like
too.
so much easier as I get older. Like I don't know what it is, but yeah, Ted Lasso is just good, and like it just
so feel good, man.
The way it ended, good. I'm like, fuck, they got to do another season. Like, I know that they're gonna change it up probably, just the way it ends and everything like that. But like, yeah, I don't know. I would watch another season of just like Beard doing his thing in England, and like I would do a whole nother season of like fucking coaching in the States, of like him coming back to the States and doing something different. Like, I don't know. They could go in so many different directions with it. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, even if you wanted to move on from like Jason Sudeikis, you could probably do something like, you know, Go Richmond Go or something, or like, and then you can focus on Beard and Nate and Rory.
Yeah. Roy.
Or
you
Rory,
always call him Roy. I don't know why.
I don't know what I mean either.
But yeah, no,
you could do something like that, right? Would be cool.
Totally. There's a lot of different directions they could spin it off into, and like I said, like I would love to just see Ted like coaching like a football team in the States or something like that. Like, I don't know. I would totally. I mean, soccer's blowing up in the US a lot, like the last couple of years. So, like one of my best friends is like obsessed with soccer now, and he was never like a huge soccer guy. So,
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Ryan Reynolds Wrexham thing definitely boosted that, but like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Ted Lasso was a good show. I highly recommend it.
I really liked it. Yeah, I really liked it. It was really, really good. So I definitely a feel good show, and
yeah, it's funny.
Lots of tears. Yeah, very funny, and just lots of times that makes you. It's just very heartwarming, right? Just
yeah.
That was all I watched. I didn't watch anything else. Oh, sorry, no, that I watched one more thing. I watched that documentary that you watched last week. That something youth.
The cult. Stolen Youth.
Yeah. That's the one. And it was whatever. It was fine. It was okay.
I love cult stuff. Like
I do like cult stuff, but I feel like that documentary truly was one of those things that like really stretched out a story that didn't need to be like. I feel like they could have made it an hour and a half special and called it a day instead of like doing like a 3-hour thing and just stretching it out. That was my only beef with it. But
yeah, I think it goes into a lot of detail and stuff, and like it's definitely could have been done in like 2 episodes instead of 3 or whatever the fuck it is. But
like by the end I was like, can we please just fucking end this? Like, let's just get
I love true crime, so like if they
usually do.
If they wanted to turn that into a 8-part miniseries, I would have watched it. Like it does.
I wouldn't. I would have bailed if it was an 8-part one. I only kept with that last episode because I knew it was the last of it. So
yeah. Yeah, so I went on like a huge space kick this week, which was I know weird, but
did you watch Spaceballs?
No, I did not. No, I'm not a big Spaceballs
Man,
guy.
we ain't found shit.
I've only seen it I think once in my life. When I was like 10 maybe.
Yeah.
No, I started off I was going to watch all these Christopher Nolan movies cuz I was excited for Oppenheimer, and I watched Interstellar, and then instead of watching more Christopher Nolan movies, I was like, no, I'm in the mood for space movies. So I watched Interstellar, and I love Interstellar. Interstellar is awesome. But then I was like, I want to watch Alien. And then I decided I want to watch Aliens. And then I watched every Alien fucking movie. I watched all 8 Alien movies.
Did you watch Prometheus ones too?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I went Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien 4, fucking Prometheus, Alien Covenant. Then I watched Alien vs. Predator 1 and 2. I love Prometheus. Like I know that movie has a bad rap from a lot of like Alien fans, but I like that movie a lot.
A lot. I actually revisited it like a couple years back, and I was like surprised at how good. Like I forgot how good it was.
There's a few moments in it that I understand. There's like some logic leaps and stuff like that.
Yes.
Like, which that's fine. It's a horror movie. I mean, there's always logic leaps, but
yeah, I
like
was just gonna say that you could pick anything apart, really.
Alien 3 and 4 are terrible. Like just brutally bad. Like I watching 4, I was like, I can barely get through this movie. It's awful.
Yeah, 4 is bad. 3's not that much better though.
No,
honestly.
3 is really boring and way too long. But
yeah, I
agree. 4 is just a bad movie. But I like Alien vs. Predator 1 for what it is. The second one's trash, but
yeah, the second one was terrible.
And then Alien Covenant, I don't think is very good considering how much I like Prometheus. But
yeah, it was a step down for sure.
Yeah, I'm very excited for next year's new Alien movie.
We're getting a new Alien movie?
Yeah, next August.
I didn't know that.
Fede Alvarez, who directed the 2013 Evil Dead movie that was like really brutal. Yeah, he's directing.
Is it just like another installment, or are they like pretending
there's like didn't come out, no information about it at all? The guy that directed District 9 was supposed to.
Yeah, I remember that. I was just gonna say Neil
Blomkamp. He was supposed to direct one, and then I guess it fell through. That was going to be a direct sequel to Aliens and pretend that the rest didn't happen, which is exactly what they should do. Like,
yeah, I agree.
The fact that 3 starts off killing everybody but Sigourney Weaver is just the worst decision. Where I'm like, who saw this on paper and was like, do that?
Good idea. Yeah,
terrible.
I agree.
Anyway, so moving on. This isn't an Alien podcast.
It isn't.
No,
I'm out of here.
We should turn it into one. Then I watched Red Planet, which is a 90s Mars movie. It's not very good. But
I feel like I remember that.
Yeah, it's pretty mad.
Who's in it? Nobody?
I don't even remember, honestly. It's such a throwaway movie. It's not very good. The movie Sunshine from Danny Boyle is actually a really solid space movie. Nice. I enjoyed. And then 2 other space movies, Life and Pandorum. Those I had never seen. They're both pretty mediocre, but they're on streaming networks, so I watched them anyway. And then I went and seen the new Mission Impossible movie.
Oh yeah.
Dead Reckoning Part 1. It's good. I mean, it's a great fun action film. It's not like, I don't know, to me, it's not the best Mission Impossible movie. It's not like it's gonna blow you fucking away if you've like seen a Tom Cruise action film. You've seen this movie.
Is it like along the same veins of like the rest of them? Like, is it
it's
comparable? Yeah.
You know, he does a lot of big stunt work, and it's a big action, set. This movie introduces Haley Atwell as like a main character.
Oh yeah.
She's a lot of fun in it. I enjoy her in it. But yeah, it sets up the second part of this, so it's like kind of ends on a bit of a cliffhanger and sets up the second movie that's supposed to come out next year. Whether it will or not, who knows, because of all the strikes. Right. But it was supposed to be the finale.
Has it been filmed?
Yeah,
I guess they would have shot it back to back, right? So
yeah, I think it's pretty much all been filmed. I think they're doing like all the special effects and shit, which I don't know if any of this affects any. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was supposed to be the finale of like, this is Tom Cruise saying goodbye to the franchise, and now I'm already seeing things where he's like, yeah, I don't know about that. We'll see. So like I'm assuming there's going to be until he kills himself in a stunt, like there'll be Mission Impossible movies. But yeah,
where would you place it in the?
Yeah, it's somewhere in the middle. It's not the worst by any means. Like Mission Impossible 2 is by far the worst.
5 is your favorite, right? Or is it 4?
I'd say 4. 4 is my favorite. I like 5 and 6 a lot. 3's really solid. I think the first 2 are the worst too by far. Like a lot of people love the first one. I think it's so boring and long and like doesn't it doesn't hold my attention very well. The second one's just cheesy and bad, and it's a very like early 2000s, late 90s action film. Gotcha. I think 3 on are excellent. I think this is a solid film. Like but it didn't do anything new where I was like, oh shit, like they're really taking this up a notch. Like it's another Mission Impossible movie. It's fun. If you like Mission Impossible, definitely go see it.
Cool.
Yeah. And then What We Do in the Shadows. I don't know if I talked about it last week.
Yeah. You just mentioned that it was just starting again.
Yeah. The 3rd episode came out and is really, really good. It was one of the best episodes of the series.
Nice.
Really funny. So still watching Hijack, and I think that's pretty much it.
Nice.
Hey,
did you hear that they're making a sequel to 28 Days Later?
Yeah, I mean, so they're supposed to. They've been talking about this for fucking years, man. And people that don't know, 28 Days Later is like one of my favorite films.
Amazing. Yeah, it's so good.
It's another Danny Boyle joint, but yeah, like Cillian Murphy's fucking awesome in it, and
yes, he is.
I like the sequel. I don't think it's as good as your first one, but like it's a solid sequel.
Yep. I agree.
And right after that sequel, they were like talking about, oh yeah, we're gonna do another one, and then like it just never happened. And then I remember them coming out like probably 5 or 6 years ago saying like, I think it's finally time we do another one, and then it just never happened. So like I hope they actually do it.
Yeah.
28 years later is the
28 years later. Yeah.
Plan for it, and like
that's when COVID happens.
Well, I don't know what they're gonna do with it necessarily, because I saw that like Cillian Murphy wants to be back in it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they like age him 30 years or like I don't know. But
I mean, you might be able to do that pretty easily just because he has aged, right? So
yeah, sure. I mean, that was what 2000. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been 20 something years. Like
you
wouldn't have to go too crazy with the.
Sure. But apparently he's like phenomenal in Oppenheimer. Like,
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, no, I would love another 28 Days Later movie.
Me too. I'd be on board for that.
But yeah, I hope Danny Boyle comes back and directs it too. I'm a big fan of his work. So
that'd be cool. Are you gonna? So you said, well, I know we kind of talked about it. You don't really have any set plans to go see Oppenheimer yet, right? Just
no. My friends are pretty busy this weekend, and I don't know. I hope I can see it sometime in the near future, but I got to go back to work, and that's going to throw everything off. So
yeah, of course.
Yeah, we'll see. I hopefully next weekend or the following weekend, but I doubt I'll be able to see it before next podcast. So
yeah.
And then we're taking a break. So maybe by the week before Fan Expo, we'll be able to talk about it.
Well, we won't have anything to talk about then. So maybe we can aim to try to do that if we can.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to see it in the next couple of weeks. I want to see it. I'm going to see it with my father-in-law. So
yeah, I mean, I wish I could see it in 70 millimeter, but there's a theater in the States that does it, but there's nothing close really. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so we can get into Always Sunny and stuff in a second, but this is one more episode of the Dumpster Fire.
Oh, the Dumpster Fire.
We Smoke Media's Dumpster Fire. These are our 4 most popular episodes of the podcast.
Of our episodes?
Yeah, these are our 4 top episodes. What episode is our most watched, viewed, downloaded, whatever you want to call it?
I think I only know this because you told me this once and I was surprised by the answer. Isn't it Black Widow?
It was for a long time, but it's not anymore.
Damn.
Yeah, it's actually episode 101, The Last of Us Part 4 and 5.
Interesting.
It has over 100 views / combined with like downloads, which is the only episode that we've gotten over 100 on.
Oh wow, that's pretty great.
Yeah, but those are our 4 top episodes, which I thought was super interesting, just because
that
like
is interesting.
Andor 4 and She-Hulk 7 is such a random like middle of the series She-Hulk wasn't very well received,
Yeah.
and like that episode did really well, and then top 10 South Park episode did really, really well. So
that one I'm not as surprised with, because I
Yeah.
feel like we talked about it a lot, and we had been talking about South Park a lot too. So
yeah, but the Black Widow one is like an early episode, and it
yeah,
did very well. But
I remember you told me that was like the best one for a while, and I was like, what, really, of all things, that?
But I think that was when MCU's hype was still very, very high.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That was kind of like the beginning of the fall.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was right after Endgame, right? And
yeah,
COVID, so people were home, and you know, but yeah, so I don't know. I found that interesting, but those are, I mean, I didn't go through every single episode's numbers. I just basically looked at the top 10 episodes versus YouTube, and then like added the numbers together. So I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's correct.
We're just gonna say that you're right.
Yeah, I'm not doing 120 episodes math, so
come on.
But yeah, you're 2-2. Sorry.
Fucking A.
Let's get into Always Sunny.
Let's get into it. Always Sunny season finale.
Yeah, season 16 finale. I liked it. It's fine. It didn't feel like a finale to me. It didn't I don't know. It didn't feel like a season finale. It just felt like another episode. It should have been in like middle of the pack episode, but I liked it.
We were saying before we came on, the thing that's weird about it is there was no. It was a Glenn episode. Like the others weren't in it at all. Like,
well, they were in the
like
they were calling them and stuff, but like
they were in it for like a total of like a minute, maybe.
Yeah, they had no storyline really.
Yeah.
And
even when it's centric on one person, usually there's still stories happening with the others, but this one had nothing.
This had no B story. It was just just Dennis.
All Glenn.
And they took it right from the podcast, which I thought was a weird move. I mean, for people that don't listen to the Always Sunny podcast, Glenn had trouble with his car.
His Tesla.
Yeah, it's a Tesla, and he parked it in a car garage underground, and it would not connect to his phone.
Totally, Neil. I totally agree with that statement. I totally agree with this statement.
I did find elements of it funny, but like it did stress me out too. Yeah, like it is me to a T, where I go into a place and they like the things that he was going through, where they're like, oh, you got to pay through the app, or you got to do this, or like, oh, this is the way we do things here. It's like, well, this doesn't even make fucking sense. Why are you doing it that way? It's just
like one of the things that makes my blood boil is exactly the part where he's on the phone and he keeps getting passed around to different places or whatever, and he's like, I've already told you my 17-digit number. I've already told you my name like 5 times, and now I get to the human and you ask me it again, and it's like, why the fuck do you ask me in the first place? Like I always get like I've had times where like I've waited on hold, and then someone picks up and asks me the same things I've already answered, and I've said, like, you say you record these things.
Yes.
Check it out. Go check it out, because I fucking already told you my name and my phone number, and
like, that's just to scare you, really? so you don't like fucking tell the human to like go fuck themselves or something. It's just like these are being recorded. It's like nobody's listening to
like
all the people. Handle. There's no way there's somebody checking out all these phone calls going on like, oh yeah, that's no, fuck off. Nothing has humans anymore, and it drives me crazy. I hate talking on the phone in general. Like it's I hate it, but and it's weird. I host a podcast that is all it is talking, but I think it's mostly just because like I hate talking to a robot that never understands what I'm saying.
Yep.
And always says the wrong thing, and it's like, just give me a person. Just give me a fucking person. And I don't know. It just frustrates me.
Me too.
But yeah, I see where Neil's coming from. Like it was a stressy episode where it's like, these are all the things that frustrate you in life. And like, I don't know. I like the concept of the episode, and like him taking a mental health day. I'm like, totally understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
But then like the twist at the end where it's all in his head, I was like, that's so stupid.
I thought it was pretty funny. Because it's Glenn being Glenn, right?
Yeah, but like I thought it would have been so much funnier if this was like a setup for next season where like he actually murdered the man, and like we finally get Dennis's like psychopathic tendencies to like come out like full.
I mean,
full
that would have
on.
been great too, but
Yeah, like I think it would just been such an interesting move at the on the show of like, oh shit.
I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at the system.
Yeah, I've said that before for sure. I've definitely said that in my time. It's like, I know it's not your fault, but I fucking hate this right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think I liked the way it ended but like it would have been funnier to me if after he got outside something happened and it made his heart rate like fly off the handle or something. I think that would have been funny if they did that.
Totally. Or
imagine if they got to the point where he had like such a crazy heart rate they ended up having like a heart attack or something like at the end, and then they ended on that. That would be pretty funny.
That was the other
thing
angle.
Is like it's like I know it's like you said, is like it doesn't feel like it seems like a weird place to put that episode. Like,
yeah,
if you would have put it last week or the week before, like that would have been fine. But
I liked like the like tiny section of like Charlie and Mac and whatever that we got, like of them trying to determine whether they're under sea level, if they can use a pressure cooker, and like
You're was telling me that, but people on a submarine, how are they cooking for all those people? They're not using pressure cookers.
Exactly, but like. It didn't get like, I know it was in a dream in Dennis's like head or whatever, but like they're like start putting all the like rocks into like pressure cook them into diamonds and shit like that. And I was like, it would have been nice if we got some like resolution to that like whole segment and like saw it like blow up or whatever the fuck was gonna happen, but it just didn't go anywhere. And like I was like, oh, this is such a weird episode. Like it feels like a shit ton got cut out of it, or like I don't know.
Should have ended with like only cricket episode. That would have been fucking hilarious. But again, like to me, if you're gonna end, you want to end with something where it involves the whole group.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
You know, that's my honestly. I think I was more just frustrated that this was the last episode.
Yeah,
like I still liked the episode. I think I liked it. Like it was probably like middle of the pack for the season. But like, yeah, my frustration for sure was that like. It's the last time we're gonna get to see these guys for a couple years, and like we didn't get any Charlie, we didn't get any Frank, we get any D, we didn't get any Mac. I mean, like I said, we get like 45 seconds of them probably, right?
Yeah.
But can you hear that car going off back?
I can.
It's fucking annoying.
I didn't know what it was at first. I thought it was at my house. I'm like, what's going on here? Yeah, no, I agree with you totally. I think it's a bizarre episode to put as a season finale.
Yeah, I agree.
That would have been really interesting. That's a good point, Neil. Sea Cricket and Snail hookup. Yeah, no, I think overall this season was fine. It had some fine episodes. I think it was better than last season, but like I said last week,
I definitely think it was better than last season, but
it definitely feels to me like they're kind of done with it. Like I don't want to speak for anybody, obviously, but like it just feels like to me, it's like, do they actually want to make this show, or are they just contractually obligated to make this show at this point? Like, I don't know. I don't know if you saw it, but like the podcast is on hiatus because of the strike.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. So the podcast is not coming back for.
So that's why that's not interesting.
So we'll see, but I
was wondering why there wasn't an episode, but that makes sense.
Yeah. They're not allowed to promote any of their stuff, and so since the podcast is an Always Sunny podcast. Yeah. So I don't think it'll be coming back for a long time. But yeah, I don't know. I wish they could talk about it openly on an episode like this season and their thought process behind it and like stuff like that. And maybe it would make more sense. But overall, like I just feel they didn't use the side characters nearly enough this season. No. Like there's cameos all over, but like it wasn't like massive plot points involving like cricket or anything like that.
Especially because last season was so isolated. So it would have been really nice if they could have gone back to like having some of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. I think they need to stop doing these like really high concept things and bring it back to more of just like
the gang being stupid and doing dumb shit.
Yeah, like the more like just scatterbrained ideas of how they're going to get rich, and like just like those kind of silly episodes like that where they come up with an idea and they want to do it, and like it's around Philadelphia, it's around the bar instead of like going bowling or whatever. Like the bowling episode was fine, but like it didn't move the needle for me. It wasn't like a memorable, funny episode. What
was your favorite episode of this season?
Probably either the first one or the the new Dennis system episode, like the Sin system.
That was funny too.
Yeah.
I liked the chess one. I think was probably my favorite.
Chess one was good too. Those were the 3 standouts, like for me at least. 3 out of 8. You know.
Yeah.
I think those 3 episodes will stand the test of time, but I think the rest pretty forgettable overall.
Yeah, I agree.
But like we said, season 16, you're gonna hit that point where.
Yep.
You've done
greater shows have failed quicker.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I mean, fuck, to have a successful show for 16 years is a big benchmark. But I assume we won't get another season until 2025. So maybe the break is what they need.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, overall, I don't know. I love Always Sunny. I'm always gonna watch it, but like, I definitely feel like I think its time has. I think they should set up like an end.
Yeah, I do too. Well, even if they use the next season to kind of play out that the end and like get us to that point, it would be cool. It'd be nice to have something that like, it'd be cool if they could go out in a bang, right? It'd be cool if they could go out,
Well, that's why I think it would have been so much more interesting
overlaying story, right?
If like Dennis did have like a heart attack or did become a murderer or something, and they finally set this up as like, holy shit, like this is the end. Like we're setting up this like big storyline for the next season. But I think they're signed for 2 more seasons, so I think they have to do season 17 and 18. But
oh shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Overall, it's fine. I think they're all ready to do their own thing and move on. But,
yeah, I think so.
I don't know. We'll see. But Secret Invasion. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts on it really were, but like overall,
that would be great, Neil. That was a good episode. Those were good episodes.
Yeah. Class reunion. Yeah. And I feel like they've kind of like I think it was last season or the season before, they did that whole episode with them in them at a roller rink or something like that, and it was like,
oh yeah, and it had a bunch of old people in it and stuff, like Dee's friends, right?
It threw out the whole storyline of them in high school. Like it didn't make any sense. Oh
yeah, because Dee was popular or something, right?
Yeah, Dee was like the popular one, and I'm like, you forgot that she wore a back brace, and they called her the aluminum monster,
the
and
aluminum monster.
And like I don't know
that episode at the end where they think they're all like singing and dancing so well, and then it like zooms back to like them just fucking pissed drunk thinking they're doing well, and they're like
yeah it's great.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But Secret Invasion, I mean, I don't really know what to tell you about Secret Invasion.
What a bizarre show.
Yeah, man.
I don't know how you miss this hard on such a beloved storyline for fans. Like it's fine, but like
let's put it this way. It's like I just like Ryan said to me before we came on, he's like, you're gonna have to kind of lead Secret Invasion, because I fell asleep watching it and like, whatever. And I said, like, I don't even know what to say. Like nothing was revealed in this episode that makes this next episode, the final episode, mean anything. Like, yeah, like we're in the same place we were when we left episode 6, like
episode 4. Yeah.
Or yeah, whatever. Episode 4. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I watched it once and I stayed awake for it, but like I usually rewatch it right before the podcast, so it's fresh in my brain, and I fell asleep. Like,
yeah,
I made it like 3 minutes into the episode and I was out. It doesn't. It should have been a movie. It should have been a 2.5 hour movie. I don't think the episodic thing is doing it any justice. Like,
yeah, I agree.
These 2 last episodes were 30-minute episodes. I'm like, why bother? Why make it 6 episodes then? Make it 5 episodes and extend the one like, I don't know. It just feels like they don't know how to do series. Like they don't know how to make limited series.
Yeah.
They don't get it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, yeah, it was funny. I saw somewhere online that like, I guess like somebody tweeted on Twitter that like, oh yeah, Secret Invasion would have been great like 6 years ago or something. Like,
yeah,
like, you know what I mean? And I guess the guy who plays Rhodey, what's his name? Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle liked it.
I don't know how they resolve everything in this last episode. Like, I don't know how you give justice to like Rhodey's character in this next episode of like, do we figure out what the fuck happened? Like when he
like that's what this episode should have been.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It was just more of the same.
And like I still don't really feel like I know what they're trying to achieve. Like I know like they want the planet or whatever and like great, but like it doesn't seem like they really have like a strategy of like we've infiltrated all over the planet of like all these high-end positions and like this is how we take over. We you know blah 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 blah. Like it doesn't really feel like it's thought out. It just feels like we're just we're doing this on a whim and like we're gonna kill the president and like it's like I don't know. Do you really want to cause World War III and then the planet's destroyed and then you got to rebuild? Like I don't know. It doesn't really make logical sense.
To me, I feel like there is a plan, but I have a hard time believing that Fury's there to stop it every time. Like that's the part I'm having a hard time with. Is like I see the plan of them trying to like stir up shit and basically start World War III, and then like basically having humans take out each other so that way they can just kind of pick off the rest when they're all wounded and down, kind of thing. But like the fact that Fury's there to infiltrate on every occasion is like. It's pretty far-fetched, man. Like it's pretty.
But like even at
the
beginning of that episode, right when the cold like opened before the credit or the entrance thing, fucking Sam Jackson in the hospital protecting the president there or whatever. I was like, oh, this could be like a cool action scene they set up. And then Rhodey comes in, he holds the gun to Rhodey's head, and nothing happens. It's like. Yep. Instead of like just sitting there, why wouldn't you want to prove to everybody that he's a Skrull?
Yeah.
Like shoot him in the foot so that like as we've seen, like they half change into like they can't hold the like human side or whatever.
Yeah.
And like prove to the Secret Service that like, oh, he's a Skrull, like he's infiltrated. They're not going to shoot you once they realize that he's a Skrull. But no, you just pistol whip him and walk away, and it's like it doesn't. I don't know.
I know. I hear you.
There's just so many like logic leap moments where I'm like, this doesn't work. Like, I don't know.
I'm not going to call it any big guns when the world is at risk is just the biggest turd plot line.
It just reminds me of like the old like ABC Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. shit where it's like, well, we can't afford any big names in this. So we're going to say like, this is an alternate timeline or like whatever bullshit reason you come up with for like, big stars not being in a movie. It's like that's what this feels like. It's like, well, we can't afford to get Chris Hemsworth in this or fucking whoever, Robert Downey Jr., whoever.
Yeah, but see, the thing is that they have fucking Don Cheadle, so that's not even a good argument.
Yeah, but I don't know if Don Cheadle's on that same cost level.
But what I'm saying is if War Machine was in this instead of just Don Cheadle.
But that's what I'm saying is like if this episode resolved that storyline of like we knew what actually happened to the real Rhodey and like we got like a setup for like, oh shit, War Machine's coming in this last episode and that's where the budget is going to stay. It's like they couldn't afford to do all this because this last episode is going to be fucking crazy. I'd be all in, but like they didn't set that up.
Well, the thing is even why am I so tired? Even if they decide that that's the route they're going to go, you're going to have a whole lot to wrap up to get rid of Skrull Rhodey, get real Rhodey out, get him up to date with what the fuck's going on if he's been in La La Land for the last 7 years, and then fucking make this all happen. Like
I hope it's not just like an entrance like cold open. I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. I hope it's not just like resolved in a cold open where it's like, oh. Rhodey's here and we shot him in the head and the real Rhodey's dead and like they just resolve it like super quick or something like in a very like flashbacky way. I hope we like I don't know, for a character that's been there since the first movie, like he deserves better than this. I don't know. I would love if the last episode like called in some big guns. It'd be great. Like if they're like fuck it, like to stop the Skrull invasion, we need some Avengers back here, and like boom, we get a cameo that's not nobody knows, like nobody's leaked it, nobody it's a big surprise, and we get somebody big names in there. But like obviously we know from the new Captain or the Marvels trailer that dropped during Comic-Con that Samuel L. Jackson's in that movie. So
yeah, he was in the first trailer too. So
okay, well I didn't remember that, but
yeah.
So we know he's not going to die in this. So
yeah, we know he's not dying.
I don't know. There's no like big thing I can think of happening other than Rhodey Skrull dying and we get Rhodey back as like the big.
Yep, that's the wow. That's going to be the wow that they're going to hang their hat on.
But like,
Boring.
what do you do with all the Skrulls? Like, I can't see how you resolve the storyline. Like, you ship them off planet, or you just kill main villain Skrull, and then everybody's like, the rest are good. Like, how do you resolve this? Because if the
you just don't, that's the thing. They'll just leave it. Like,
I guess, but like that's such a bad.
The thing is at that point you've gone through 6 episodes of stuff and you really made no
plot
progress on that story, right? It's like, oh yeah, the Skrulls, they're still here. They're still
like, unless it sets up like, hey, season 2 is going to come next year or whatever, like this was just the first part of the invasion storyline. It's like, okay, but no, that's true. Neil says Hulk versus 10 Super Skrulls series saved. Yeah, if like we get like this huge battle of the Super Skrulls versus like some Avengers or like something like that, and they're like, yeah, this is where we save the budget. This is why we couldn't really do a whole lot in the last few episodes. Was this last episode cost us $20 million to fucking, it had the budget of a fucking movie. All right, justified, but like, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah,
I think we would have heard by now of like, hey, whoever was seen on set during Secret Invasion, like they're gonna have a cameo in this.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fine. It's a fine show. It's nowhere near the worst Marvel show.
It's not the worst. It's just not that exciting.
It's just very disappointing for what I was so excited for it, and like, this ain't it.
Yep, that's how I'm feeling. I'm just I was super excited going into it, and now I'm just like, so what are we talking about again? Where are we at with all of this shit? Like,
yeah, exactly. It's
6 weeks to get to nothing. Like,
don't do a limited series of 6 episodes and then not have anything go on. Like, I mean, I disagree with you there, Neil. I think She-Hulk is abysmal, but
I didn't mind She-Hulk, but the fact of the matter is She-Hulk didn't tie into anything. Like, I liked it for what it was, but in terms of world building, I prefer this. But
I mean, to me, She-Hulk's the worst MCU series by far.
Yeah, I can understand why you would think that, though. It's definitely the biggest departure from anything traditional in the MCU that we've had. So
yeah, it's not for me, but
I feel so dirty even saying that.
Yeah, you should. We forgot about Loki last week. Loki is the next series.
Right.
I think it's October. November? I think it's early October. And then I think
that at this point I'm a little worried about that too, because like,
well, my big question is like, he who shall remain, or whatever the fuck they're calling Kang in that universe or whatever. I don't know how you do that stuff with all the stuff that's going on with what's his face, and like, I'm sure that was all already filmed. You can't refilm shit now because of the strike. So like, I don't know. I'm very curious how they're going to handle all that, or maybe he's just not in the series at all. Like, I don't know. But
the thing is if they had to turn it around while everything was already recorded, that's going to be a fucking gong show then.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I don't know how you do that series with all the like how the first season set it up without having him in the seat. Like, I don't know.
I mean, they kind of wrapped that story up. They kind of just hinted at what was coming next. So, I mean, like, I guess you could just like go down a different avenue and maybe like allude to that. But I mean, the fact of the matter is they can't keep making these stories longer so they can finish the stories, because they're already saying they're cutting back on everything. Yeah. So what are you going to get Loki season 3 in like 2029? Like, how's that going to work?
No, I agree with you. Like we've discussed, like, I think they just have too many pots on the stove, and there's not enough time.
Like that reference.
It's very, you can't keep everything boiling, and there's just too much. And like, unless you're going to start putting out 10 series a year, which they're not going to do because they're all fucking failing. Like, I don't know. Did you end up listening to that podcast episode I
Yes,
sent you?
yeah, I did. That was great.
Yeah. So again, a podcast I've recommended before, but it's fuck, I'm not even gonna remember what it's called right now because that's my
Something
brain.
plain or something. What was it?
Plain English with
Plain
Derek
English.
Thompson is a Ringer podcast hosted by. They do like very different episodes every week. Like it's not like a topic always of the same kind of genre. They talk politics, they talk technology, they talk film, they talk all kinds of different things. And this week's episode was how Hollywood got streaming so wrong. And he talks to an analyst about like what's going on in the streaming universe and like cinema and everything, like with the strikes, with how bad streaming services are doing and everything like that. And like we've kind of talked about it on here, so that's why I sent it to Matt about like our thoughts on it. But this was like a very well thought out, well researched podcast. But yeah, like Disney's doing bad. Disney Plus is failing. Fucking the movies are not anywhere near what they expected box office wise, and like they're kind of talking about like what is the future of streaming services. And the analyst they had on it, spoiler alert, I still think you should go check out the podcast, but she was like, you're gonna see these corporations come in and start eating themselves. Like you're gonna see a Microsoft come in and buy a Netflix or buy something and tie it in with, you know, you bought an Xbox, you also get a year membership with Netflix, so on and so forth. Or you're going to see Disney come in and buy one of the smaller things and merge them. Like they're trying to get rid of ESPN. Maybe Apple will buy ESPN, and then you'll see Apple Plus combined with ESPN, and you'll get a sports package with your streaming service. And they're going to start doing it like satellite packages back in the day.
So basically, get ready to start paying more money for your streaming services.
Right. That, or they're just going to have add-ons, and it's going to be, you can get the basic bitch bundle for whatever it is, of $9.99 a month, and you just get Netflix, or you can add $10 here, $10 here, $10 here, $10 here to get, you know, HBO Max and ESPN and whatever, Hulu and all these other things combined into your Netflix package. But
yeah,
I don't know. I thought it was really interesting just because like they were talking about Peacock too, and Peacock just came out and they lost like, I don't know, it was an insane amount of money, and they're raising the prices of Peacock. And I'm like, okay, you just lost hundreds of millions of dollars and you're going to raise the price and you're expecting people to pay that? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw like shit like that starting to happen of like, I mean, Disney doesn't really have anything, but like with Microsoft, I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft comes in and says like, oh, you're a Game Pass subscriber, you get Disney Plus with it, you get a Netflix with it, you get a whatever with it. And they're just going to give chunks of money to like Disney through that, you know.
The thing that's scary about the situation is, you know, one of the big talking points about the strikes for both sides, the actors and the writers, is that they don't make any money from streaming. Like they get a one-time payout and that's it.
Yep.
So if that gets corrected, imagine that gets corrected. So instead of them paying one time, it's every time someone streams that they get paid. How do these streaming services who are already hemorrhaging money?
Oh, they
do. How do they then go and do that? Like,
well, it's not just that too. It's they don't release numbers. We have no idea.
No, I know that. But my point is when they say, oh, this is the most popular thing.
Right.
Like, you know, the one reference they used was Orange is the New Black. And they were saying that, like, it had better numbers than, what's that HBO show with the dragons and shit?
Oh,
Game of Thrones. They're saying it had better numbers than Game of Thrones, yet people were getting paid, like, $10,000 an episode, and the people on Game of Thrones were getting paid like $150,000 an episode.
Right, but that's what I mean is like HBO. For the most part, you know, viewership of HBO shows, like they release those numbers. Where Netflix has never really released concrete numbers of like this was streamed 100 million times. They'll say when a show is really popular, they'll say people watch 300 million hours of the show or something along those lines. It's like, well, how does that like? Did 6 people watch the whole series and then the first episode the entire earth watched, and that's how you're like, how does it break down? And they've never revealed those numbers. I I don't know. I don't know what they do, because I think if you pay the actors for each stream or anything like that, residual wise, of like, this was watched 100 million times, you get X amount of dollars per stream, so on and so forth, then they have to be public with their numbers, and they have to be, or at least to the actors, they have to be public with the numbers and say like, here you go, here's our numbers. And I don't think they'll ever do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, you know, how long can something like that survive when there's nothing new on it? It'll
be Spotify. It'll be like, okay, we'll give you 1/8 of a penny per stream or whatever the fuck it is, and it's like, here you go. You made $12 off whatever big show because it streamed 100 million times, and here's $13 for residuals. Like, it's not going to be anything that's like, oh shit, this person just made $300 million from a Netflix show. It's not going to happen.
But the thing is they're fighting to get stuff, and you know, I feel like, you know, getting something is one thing, but getting, you know, comparatively to television, like, you know, how do we get into, and again, like, it's hard, like, because here's the thing is, like, it's easy to look from the outside and be like, actors, they get paid a fuck ton, so like, who fucking cares? But like, it's not really it's not like the Tom Cruises and like the big names that are hurting by this. It's the up and comers, the new people who are trying to break into acting to, like, you know, make this a career. And it's like, those are the people who are being hurt by this, not the bigwigs, right?
When Squid Game came out, that was a big thing. Is the guy that created Squid Game got paid like $20,000 or something ridiculously low for Squid Game, which was one of the most viewed things ever on Netflix.
In the whole world. Yeah.
And he made like almost no money on it. And now I think they're doing a season 2, but Netflix owns all the rights to that show. So like, I'm assuming he's getting paid better for season 2, but like, yeah, I think he made like, it was something ridiculous, like $30,000 or something. He's like, yeah, it's not like I got filthy rich from this show. Like, it's not happening.
The Weekly Planet pod that I listened to, those Australian guys, they did like a big piece about the strike this week. And they had that strike. Squid Game is one of the things they talked about for a bit, and how like that guy got like nothing basically.
You got shafted
for like for like one of the biggest things in the world. You know, like
one of the biggest shows of the last 10 years for sure.
Yeah. So
and I mean,
crazy.
People that say like, oh well, he's rich, they don't deserve money. It's like, well, people say that about athletes all the time. It's like, well, oh, you made $46 million last year and like whatever. It's like, yeah, I agree. That's a lot of money, but like somebody like Patrick Mahomes, who's a quarterback of you know, the best quarterback in the league in the NFL. You can't tell me that like Joe Schmo off the street can do what he do. Like he's a once in a lifetime talent that like, that's what he's getting paid for. He brings in fans and money into the NFL, and that NFL is worth billions upon billions of dollars. So he should make that kind of money. Like,
Yep. I mean, I think the thing when you look at, particularly when you look at athletes, is like, you know, what they do for their sports and how it affects their body. You know, their time is very limited, right? So it's like, it's easy to shit on them for getting millions of dollars per game or whatever. But I mean, fact of the matter is like, man, that career window is like, you know,
15 years,
in best case scenario, 20 years, you know what I mean? Like, and they're left with, you know, the worst of scars. Yeah. Like, you know, their life is going to be uncomfortable for the rest of their life. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
so it's like, I get it. You know,
it's not every actor, and like you said, like it's a very select group of actors and a very select group of athletes that are making that kind of money. There are a ton of athletes that are making league minimum, you know, $500,000 a season or whatever the fuck it is for depending on the league, and they have lifelong injuries, and that money dries up very quickly because it's not like they're making $500,000. They're paying taxes on it. They're paying their agents on it. They're, you know, all this stuff. So they're paying all their medical stuff. Like, it's a lot.
Totally.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm very curious to see how this works out, but like, I don't think this is ending.
Me neither.
Like anytime.
Well, one of the things they were saying on the Weekly Planet was they're like, it'll be interesting to see who gives up first, because I guess I can't remember who it was. Somebody industry wide basically said like, you know, it sucks to have to do this, but basically you're going to have to just watch these guys like have to give up houses and shit like that because they won't be able to pay for stuff. But then their counter argument to that was like, you know, it might be you know, it might be hard for some of those smaller actors who are trying to make a living in it, but you know, the millionaires who like live a lifestyle off a quarterly earning, like that quarterly earning is not going to be there anymore, right? So sure, in theory, they have a lot of money, but you know, when they spend, you know, $200 million every 4 months, and you know, like, you know, then what happens if this goes on for like 2 or 3 years? Like,
I don't think it will go on that long.
No,
but
I don't
like,
either. But I mean, like,
I think
you know
it's probably going to be a majority of this year. Like, I would guess till the end of the year. Like, I could see it getting resolved by Christmas, but like, I think it's going to be like an October, November type deal of like, this is going to keep going. I don't think they're anywhere close to, like, from what I've read, it doesn't seem like they're anywhere near resolving it. Like, it doesn't seem like they're even close to being on the same page. You know, they want like all the AI rights and like all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I don't know.
But again, with all of that resolution coming, but if they go back to work, then it's going to cost the studios a lot of money because
they're just saying that
being paid fairly for what they do by stream, by viewing, and like that's a lot of extra money.
Yeah. Well, they're just saying like how much money they're losing a day from all these sets that are just sitting there that like things are supposed to end. I can't remember what I just read, that it was like 2 weeks away from finishing, and the set now they have, who knows how long it's going to sit there and wait. And it's going to cost them millions upon millions of dollars to extend this out, but like it's going to also cost them millions upon millions of dollars to settle this. So it'll be very.
But I mean, the thing is the fact of the matter is like they're going to have to settle it. Like
the longer it goes, the worse it is.
Yeah. So
Neil's saying in the chat, Microsoft Game Pass is going to be huge in a few years, so could see them snagging one of those. I don't know if it is, Neil. Game Pass is not successful in any real way. Like, Game Pass is basically a video game service on Xbox that like you pay $20 a month and you get access to whatever 200 games. You can play any of those games through you can download them or whatever, but it's basically like a Netflix type service of like you get the entire catalog and can play what you will. But these games are costing $200 to $250 million to make, like these big AAA games. There's no way they're making that kind of money through Game Pass. It's just not. It's not profitable enough. There's not enough subscribers, and every time they release any of these big budget games, it's nobody's buying them because it's on Game Pass. So I just saw an article. I don't know if it's accurate, but we're just going to talk about it. Yeah, I agree. But Call of Duty is making their money from people buying a $90 or $80 Call of Duty game. When you just took away any interest in buying the game now. So people may subscribe, but instead of getting $80 per Call of Duty for whatever 100 million people, you're now getting $20.
But the thing is it's not like you buy Game Pass. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it's not like you would buy Game Pass and you only have access to Call of Duty. It's everything else too, right? So it's like,
they just said,
when you break it down, like what you're paying per game, it's probably like, it would probably take a long time of subscriptions to make that back.
There's no way it can be profitable. There's no way. There's not enough gamers in the world to make Game Pass profitable. Microsoft can do it because they're Microsoft and they have Windows and they have all this other stuff. But they're not making money through Game Pass. Game Pass was never going to be profitable, in my opinion. I agree. Like Rockstar, who makes Grand Theft Auto, obviously not Microsoft owned, and like I highly doubt that Grand Theft Auto will ever be on Game Pass as like a day one launch. Maybe eventually, like I think Grand Theft Auto 5 is on Game Pass right now, but there was a thing that said that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to cost them $2 billion to make. That's how much they've spent in, because there hasn't been a new Grand Theft Auto game since 2000. I don't even remember what year it came out. 11 maybe. It's old. Like,
oh wow, really?
Yeah, it's been like a decade since they've released a new Grand Theft Auto game, and like it doesn't surprise me because it's the biggest game, one of the biggest games in the world. Like Grand Theft Auto is one of the best selling games in the history of time.
Right.
But if it's costing them $2 billion to make Grand Theft Auto 6, like that game will make that money back because it's on all the consoles and it's going to charge $90 a game, and 100 million people will buy that the first day.
Yep.
Call of Duty is one of the most popular game every year. It's like the best selling game every single year. I guarantee you that now you just threw away every single person that normally buys that game on Xbox is now just going to say, well, I'll subscribe to Game Pass and get it for $20. And maybe they'll say stay subscribed, $20 a month. Great. But you're putting out a new Call of Duty game yearly, and that game's costing you $250 million every single year to make.
Yeah. I think a hard thing too, to talk as a non-gamer, but someone who's heard Ryan complain about this a lot, Neil, like this, I feel like is a relatively invalid point, because from what it seems like, a lot of brand new games end up being incomplete a lot of the time. So
totally.
By the time they actually get to these streaming services, they're probably in a better state than when they're initially released, right?
Yeah, I mean, it will be there day one. They didn't buy Activision to not put Call of Duty on Game Pass day one. Now, guaranteed, like they had to sign a bunch of stuff because all the like FTC and everything was investigating Microsoft for basically like you can't own everything, man, like monopoly type shit, right?
Yeah, sure.
So like they had to make a bunch of caveats that like, okay, we won't take this off of PlayStation. That doesn't mean that it's not going to be on Game Pass. They're going to put it on Game Pass, and then they're going to charge $80 on PlayStation for the game. That's all. It'll be there day one. I guarantee it. They didn't buy Activision to not put. They want to get Candy Crush because Activision owns Candy Crush. So all those old people that play Candy Crush on their phone that put $10 in daily or whatever the fuck to get, whatever you do with Candy Crush, they're going to get that money. But like they bought Activision for Call of Duty and and I don't know. I'm very interested to see how it goes. I don't play Call of Duty. I don't give a shit what happens to Call of Duty. If whatever it does, like I don't play it. I don't care. Right. I'm not an online gamer. I like single player story based games. I'm not a multiplayer gamer. I don't care about, all their zombie modes and whatever. Like I don't play any of that shit. So it doesn't affect me, but like it does affect a shit ton of people. It's the number one game every year. So crazy. How do you make Game Pass profitable? Well, it's not putting out 4 or 5 games that cost $250 million a year on it for free.
Sure.
You're not going to make that money back.
Yeah. That's
Netflix. That's Disney Plus. That's all these shows.
That's all of these things. Yeah.
It's like you can't put a high budget Star Wars show out like Andor and make that money back. It's not going to happen unless you have hundreds and hundreds of millions of subscribers. And I don't know if you're ever going to get that, man.
Yeah.
There's too much competition.
Yeah, there is. It's true.
I don't know. Like I said, it will be very, very curious to see how this all pans out and it works out and how it affects everything. Like, will movie theaters still exist if this goes on for a year? I don't know.
It's hard to say.
Yeah. Anything else that we want to talk about before we end this? What are you doing on your Last Whip Wednesday?
Last Whip Wednesday, we're going through all of the Summer Swap reveals. I got Draven, who runs Summer Swap, and Wes, Ethan Supley Customs, who runs Secret Santa with me. We're going early this week. We're going to be starting at 7 instead of 9. So,
wow.
Wes works at a hospital and he can't stay up late, and he's on the East Coast. So, in order for me to get him to commit, I have to go earlier. So we're doing 7 o'clock Wednesday, and we're going to be reviewing all of the Summer Swap reveals from this last event. There's only one that we're waiting on to be revealed, but it's stuck in Mexican customs, which is like could be a month, it could be 4 months. Like I think the longest we've waited was a little over 4 months. So
Jesus,
could potentially be a while, but maybe by Christmas.
Maybe.
And then we'll be waiting for his Christmas one. So
yeah, he'll be doing that.
Someone who participates with us every time, and it always does this. That happens every time. So.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, but that'll be the last Whip Wednesday. So if anybody, is around at 7 p.m. on Wednesday night, join me and Wes and Draven, and yeah, it should be pretty fun.
YouTube.com/@CustomsByMatthew, as always. You can subscribe to me as well at Moose Milk Media on all the things, Instagram, YouTube. That's it.
All that good shit. That's it. That's all we got.
That's all we got. You can grab the podcast on podcast services if you so choose. We're available everywhere, or should be available everywhere. And next week we'll cover the finale of Secret Invasion, and we'll be taking a 2-week break after that.
About it.
Yeah, I'm sure we will be very unhappy with it, but hopefully it will surprise us. And
feeling very confident that it's going to be lackluster. But
yeah,
that's good to go into it with low expectations, because if anything happens at all, we'll be like, oh,
yeah, exactly. I would love a big surprise, a big cameo, a big cliffhanger that sets up something.
All of the Avengers show up.
Well, even if it was like an X-Men cameo or a big like setup for any of these like future MCU things, that's like, oh, we got a cliffhanger and it sets up the Marvels or whatever, I'd be like,
Captain Marvel just comes and just like takes all the Skrulls one by one. That's the whole episode, is her just going back and forth, just like
I kind of have a feeling that
off the earth,
that she could be involved, but I don't know.
I don't know. See.
But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks, Neil, for hanging out in the chat with us.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. You're the man. I'll send you some stickers eventually, I promise.
And
can I send them a couple stickers?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I got new stickers too, so I'll send you some too, Neil. Just hit me with a message to remind me so I don't forget.
Yeah, and we'll see everybody next week.
Fucking A, man. Have a good night, everybody. Yes. Peace the fuck out. And you too, Rye. Have a great night. I'll still be here when we get off the lives, but
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye.